Good morning, my dear children of class 7th. This video is a continuation of previous video, chapter The Bell. In this story, we discussed about a girl who was rebel, a girl who was willing to go against the norms of the society. That girl wanted to ring the bell. So, we will continue from page number 115. The usual knot of women was gathered around the three-tiered stone lamp at the outer door, talking earnestly in hushed voices, their faces grave, and said. Kelu Nair edged as close to them as he dared. She knew he drank in every whisper that he could distinguish, and that he would impart it all, embellished with many scandalous details of his own invention, to her mother and great grandmother over dinner tonight. Means, so as always, the knot of women who always gathered around the three-tiered stone lamp at the temple, they all gathered there. They always talk and gossip. They were always seen doing the same thing. As they were passing by them, Kelu Nair edged as close to them as he dared. She knew that he had overheard. He took in everything. She also knew that evening he would return back home and he will impart all, adding spices. When people gossip, they do not just gossip, they add some spices to make it interesting. Kelu Nair loved gossiping. Next paragraph. As they started their ritual circling of the outer walls of the temple, she noticed that the football game had already begun in the courtyard beside the sanctuary of Krishna. She enjoyed watching the players, more so because of her obvious delight in the vigor of their game. When we visit the temple, we take circle around the temple. Before we entered the temple, that is exactly what we do. She was also doing the same, the ritual circling. So there was the courtyard, a football ground beside the sanctuary of Krishna, where they were playing football game, and she enjoyed watching the players. So she loved football. The energy that it had, it showed. She found the game pretty interesting. Arriving at the sanctuary of Krishna, she saw the small door obstinately closed. Kelu Nair had told her time and time again, time and time means often, again, that the image inside was unimaginably beautiful. Today she circled it hurriedly, her mind full of her secret mission, and almost ran along provoking an incomprehensible means difficult to understand torrent of protest from Kelu Nair, who could not keep up with her. That means the image of God was beautiful. That was the kind of talk that she had overheard from Kelu Nair. That door most of the time remained closed. She circled the walls of the temple hurriedly. She has a plan in her mind, and that is to ringing the bell. So Kelu Nair was there protesting. He was against whatever she was doing. Kelu Nair was trying at his level best to run as close to this girl, but Kelu Nair was failed. This time the girl was determined in doing what she wanted to do. That's why she was moving way ahead of Kelu Nair. The eastern facade of the temple always enchanted her. Facade is the outer appearance of the building. When she recalled it afterwards, as she often did, her memories were full of sound and color. The river ran through here, the jade green of its water melting first into the rice fields beyond and then into the luminous evening sky. In the enclosed area where the woman bathed, shrill voices rose above, the wet slapping of cloth against stone. So she loved the environment of her village. She loved the sound, the color. She had fond memories of her village and the area out there. The rock beneath her feet was turning cool. She remembered that the hour of lamp lighting was near and hurried back through the shadow filled hall. Beyond tall golden flagpole, tiny pinpoints of light pierced the warm darkness of the inner sanctuary. Kelu Nair, muttering angrily, was close upon her heels, rounding the wall. She acknowledged with an involuntary intake of breath the sparkling rectangle of flame that outlined the door of the corner sanctuary of Ayappa. So now gradually time had passed. It was almost evening. So this girl moving ahead, this time she was moving faster. The minute she realized that the hour of lamp lighting was near, so Kelu Nair, on the other hand, was still not successful in keeping a close distance with the girl. He was still struggling. He was behind the girl. He was muttering angrily. He too was moving faster. He was close upon her heels. Inside the temple, her feet lovingly caressed the cool stone of inner courtyard, reveling in its smooth worn feel. She bowed a perfunctory greeting to the little doll, like Parvati, crossed her arms and touched her ears before the dark, almost invisible Ganesha, and came hurriedly upon the crowded main sanctuary. A familiar scent of hot oil and flowers of vibhuti and wet clothes welcomed her. So she quickly ran and circled around the temple. She quickly bowed a perfunctory when we see the idol of Parvati, we automatically bowed. She even greeted Ganesha. So it was almost the time of lighting of the lamp. The women of the Nambudri household stood in front, in a tight invisible circle that no one else must touch, their eyes closed, clutching their thatch umbrellas that obscured everyone's vision, their lips moving in an ecstasy of prayer. She edged her way towards them, ignoring Kelu Nair's shocked whispers of protest, almost bumping into one of the ridiculous umbrellas. As she was near the main sanctuary where the lighting of the lamp take place, these set of women from the Nambudiri household circled around the lamp so that no one would be able to touch or obstruct the process of the lighting of the lamp, and not everybody was allowed to touch it. So these women were praying with so much deep devotion, and the girl noticed that she edged her way towards them, and Kelu Nair was behind her. The girl went where the temple bell was hung. It shocked Kelu Nair. She saw Thangam standing near the steps, looking remote and rapt with devotion. The rhythm of the idakka was mounting crazily. As the door was flung open, she blinked at the sudden vision of gold. Before she could regret her decision or go back upon it, she elbowed herself quickly through the untouchable circle of Nambudiri women, nearly floundering on the slippery steps. The sight of the big bell above her touched her with a heady excitement. She could distinguish Kelu Nayar's frantically whispered threats, but she reached up, rang the bell with one resounding clang, and was down the steps before he realized what was happening. As she was proceeding towards the bell, she saw Thangam, who was standing near the steps. Ilakka is a drum. She literally elbowed herself and went through the circle of Nambudiri women. She ignored everything that the people of society was to follow. This girl ignored the norms of the society. She goes through the Nambudiri women and rings the bell. Kelu Nayar could not succeed to stop her to ring the bell. Dimly she was aware of dark looks and subdued murmurs pursuing her as she permitted Kelu Nayar to drag her away, returning home in the gathering shadow. His imprecations grew louder and more vehement. Warnings of the great grandmother's terrible wrath were becoming real. She paid no heed at all, for she felt wondrously light-hearted, excitingly happy. As she climbed over the stone stile to enter the house, she turned for a last look at the temple. It gleamed black at her, conspiratorially blessing her happiness. Kelu Nayar was embarrassed. He was scared that the Nambudiri women and the people of the society would say something. Before that happens, before she was punished, he quickly, out of fear, he drags this girl by her hand. And she allowed this time, after having ring the bell, she allowed Kelu Nayar to hold her hand. As she was being dragged, she could hear the whisper of subdued the dark looks. So she knew that when she would reach home, she would be scolded by great grandmother. She did not pay any attention. Instead of fear, she felt really happy. She felt the temple was also happy and blessed her what she had done. She was in dire disgrace. Their tight-lipped silence was more eloquent than speech, as was the conspicuous absence of her favorite tiny papadums at dinner. The papadums specially ordered for her every holiday and served regularly at every meal. That evening, she was quite embarrassed. They were extremely angry for what she had done. None of them talked with her, so it was clearly visible from the absence of her favorite dish papadums at dinner. Her elderly of house always ordered for her during holidays. As a mark of punishment, they have not served on her plate. She did not really care, for the silence seemed to be filled with a thousand voices singing within her, and she was quite sure that the golden god within the temple, in whose eyes all are equal, had accepted her gesture with love. Had accepted her gesture with love. But she did not really care. That means she was so happy for having succeeded. She wanted nothing more than that. She was extremely rejoicing. So, as she had, everybody, the entire people of the society were angry with her. But she was very happy after rung the bell. I hope you all liked the story. Have a nice day. Thank you, children.